Hey guys, what's going on? What we have is the Stern Defense Magwell adapter. It allows you to use Glock magazines in a AR-15 lower that has a 9mm upper. And perhaps some of you guys have seen a couple of my previous videos where I'm doing the pistol caliber carbine that I have. So one of the selling points that Stern Defense has is they say that it has a last round bolt hold open. And the way that it works is, if you see this little lever right here, is as the follower comes up, and the follower, let's see if we can get that to where you guys can see it, is this guy here. And especially this little ledge, what happens is this part here, this little lever, as the follower comes up, it will push that up. And then you have a pivot point back here, and I think that there is something internally down and through here that isn't working anymore. And I'm not exactly sure what happens. But the way that it works is when this comes up, you'll see that there's kind of a clear spot, or a shiny spot here, I guess I should say. And that has developed from when the mag catch, or the bolt catch, excuse me, is being activated. So when that follower pushes it up, what happens is this little shiny part here sits kind of underneath, right in through here. And that is what activates the mag catch. And then on the bolt face, right here, this part is what catches on the actual mag catch here in the lower. So the last time I was at the range, I was noticing that the mags weren't locking back. The bolt wasn't locking back on empty mags. And I think what has happened is that there is some part of this linkage here that is no longer activating this to where it wants to ride up on that follower. So I did what most, I guess, normal people would do, is that I called Stern Defense and called them several times, and this was the number on their website, and there is no way to leave a voice message on there. And I called them several times, different times of the day, different days, never got a response. I also sent a couple of emails to them detailing what had happened with my adapter. No response back at all. So, and again, I didn't just send an email to a random email address that they had mentioned on their website. I actually sent it, filled out their contact us form, and got nothing back. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take this thing apart and see if I can figure out what's wrong. In the emails that I sent to them, I was like, hey, do I need to send this back in, or is there something that you can send me? But again, didn't ever hear anything back from them. So what I am going to do is I am going to take this thing apart. It's funny, in a way, it's a very complex thing as far as the engineering of it, but it's also, seems like it's a relatively simple thing. It's got some Torx heads here, a couple over here. This is for the ejector, these two, so that'll come off. And I just don't think we're going to be able to see it well enough, in that, I don't know if this thing will focus. If you look sort of down in here on how this works, sometimes there's parts that kind of will sort of fall down or come more into play. But I do think that there is something with this linkage here. Again, this is supposed to gets pushed up when the magazine follower comes up. And I think this is supposed to go up, and you see there's maybe a little thing here in the back, that guy in there. So I don't know, I'm going to take the ejector off, see if I can't get a better look. Again, since I haven't heard back from Stern Defense at all, I think I am probably out of any type of a warranty. I bought this thing a couple years ago, and I think on their website they have maybe like a year or something like that. So what we'll do is we'll move the camera around here a little bit. We'll crack this thing open, and we'll see if maybe we can solve the problem. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but the adapter still works as far as feeding reliably, ejecting reliably, that type of thing. You know, I don't have failures to feed or failures to eject. Again, it's just that one of their major selling points was that this thing is going to come up and it will work with your AR lower to give you that last round bolt hold open. I will continue to try and contact Stern Defense and see if I can't get some guidance, or because it could be a thing where they say, oh, it's just a spring or it's a linkage that's gone, and so it's a relatively easy fix. So let's take the ejector out. So let's go ahead and take these apart here. Get this side. Now, and looking at this little piece here, it does not appear to be broken or really bent out of shape. So I think this would be functioning as it should be. This thing here is part of a wedge, and when you tighten this up, you'll see how that wants to go out. And what it does is it wedges into the magwell. So again, I don't know if there's a way to take this set screw out, or if it kind of, I don't want to destroy the thing, because like I said, it's kind of meeting resistance there. So I'm going to see if I can't, maybe off camera, take a little bit closer look at this thing and see if I can maybe split it apart. The way that the mag release works is it looks like you have a small pin here that goes into that slot right there, and that keeps it from maybe coming all the way out. You've got a spring that's here, if you can see it. And then you have, it looks like maybe another set screw that goes in and keeps that spring from coming out. So like I said, I'm going to take a little bit closer look at this, and then I'll cut you guys back on and see if I am actually going to be able to get this thing apart. I can see that there's another screw that's down in there. So what I got here to undo this, it's a 1/16. And we'll see if we can't get this out. And once we get this out, it may let us sort of pull some of this stuff apart. Almost there. In fact, I think it's, yeah, okay, so see, this is starting to come up now. And you can see right here, I think, There we go. So we got that set screw out. This fits down in there, and it looks like that set screw goes into here. You can see a slight, at least I can, indentation there. So I don't see any other screws or anything. The only thing is maybe this. And I don't know if it's going to let me get this thing apart. So we shall see. And there it goes. Alright, so because I believe this little piece here, there was maybe a tab or something that went out and actuated up against this, maybe like that. So again, this piece here is what the follower pushes up on, and as that gets kind of pushed up, I think there was whatever piece broke off of here. As that rotated down, it caused this to rotate up, which in turn pushed it up like that. So this again is what I think happens. This slots in like that, and it rides up and down in here. This piece here had a larger piece that has since sheared away, and that larger piece, if we think of it, when the follower comes in and pushes this up, so as the follower comes in and it pushes up here, there was a piece, that piece that sheared off would push down on that, would cause this to rotate up like there. So I think that is our problem. I actually am going to need a new one of these. I could put this thing back together, stick it back in the lower, and I think it would work just fine. The only thing that it wouldn't do would be to have the last round bolt hold open. I don't know if this particular thing here, when that sheared off, I don't know if that is a fatal flaw maybe in the design of this thing and that it will happen, or maybe if because it's a relatively maybe small thing. I don't know. I'm using the correct buffer and springs and everything. So we shall see. I will try and get in touch with Stern Defense and see if I can't get somebody there to at least return a call or to talk to me. And maybe they can just send me out this piece, or maybe they want me to send the whole thing back into them. I don't know. We'll see. I will keep you guys appraised of what goes on, and if they do send me out the new piece, I will go ahead and show you that. Of course, if you see that, for you guys, it may be 2 or 3 weeks or a month for me before all this stuff transpires, but for you, it'll be just a few seconds. So for me, for reassembly, I was able to just line up the stuff and snap it back together. Let me get a pencil or something to... Well, that didn't work. Looks like that has a little bit of Loctite or something on it. I'm just going to gently put these screws back in. I'm not going to tighten them all the way down just because I don't want them to get lost. So there. And then we've got these three. Some of you guys may ask, well, why put the thing all back together? Why not just, wait a bit? And I guess there's some validity in that as well, but doing it this way, it kind of gives me a little bit of muscle memory on this thing. So the more I take it apart and put it back together, the more familiar I am with it. And like I said with these, I'm just sort of putting them in there where it's all reassembled in one unit again. And that way I don't have to worry about losing any small parts or anything like that. And again, this may be a little tight, but it still moves. And again, we go to put a magazine in there, and you can watch that thing will actually, it's making contact with the follower there. So it moves up. Alright guys, let's talk a little bit about where I kind of am in the repair process here with the mag adapter. So it's kind of been a lot more difficult, I think, than it should be, in that when I initially tried to contact Stern Defense, and I can't remember if earlier in the video I had talked about this, but when I originally tried to contact them, there was a telephone number and then an actual contact form where you could send them an email. I called the number several times on a couple of different days at different times of the day. Nobody ever picked up, and there was no way to leave a voicemail there. So I had to send, I think, on my third correspondence email-wise with them from their own contact form, I finally got a response back. And this took probably, I'd say maybe 3 weeks or so before I finally heard back from them. They said, hey, what we'll do, it sounds like it's the rotating cam is what they call that little piece that I showed you guys that was sheared off. It kind of looks like a ping pong paddle, excuse me. They said, hey, what we'll do is we'll send you out a return label, and then you can send it in and we'll go ahead and get that thing fixed for you. So I said, okay, sounds great. A lot of times companies will do things a couple of different ways. Either they'll send you an email with a return address that you can just print up off of your computer, and then you tape it onto whatever box and you send it in to them. Or sometimes companies will actually send you a box that they want you to send it in back to them. And so I didn't, and since they asked for my address, I thought, oh, that's probably what they're going to do. So I waited another couple of weeks because I thought, well, if they're sending something in the mail, it could take a little bit of extra time. Didn't get anything in the regular snail mail, and didn't get anything either in either the inbox or my spam folder, which I was checking on a daily basis, never got anything. So about 2 days ago, I contacted Stern Defense again through email, and and I said, hey, I didn't get anything. If you want, just go ahead and send me out the part and I can install it myself, or send me something maybe that I can print off at home. And I got kind of a curt response that said, we sent it a long time ago. Go ahead and check. Will you please check your spam folder? Which came across, to me, kind of the way it was worded, kind of snarky. So, like I said, I've been checking that. I sent them a thing back, a response back saying, hey, I didn't get anything in my inbox, and there's nothing in my spam folder. So, again, we'll just kind of wait and see. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. They are not the best at communication. If you were looking to buy some type of an adapter, and maybe I'll do another video on this, but the short answer would be I wouldn't buy from Stern Defense. I think I talked a little bit before in the video about how that little rotating cam piece, which is what they call it, how that actually might be a fatal flaw in their system. Now, I haven't heard or seen other things on YouTube about people about having the bolt hold open, what we want to call it, actuation, for lack of a better term. I haven't seen anything about people saying, oh, this failed, it doesn't work anymore. So maybe it's not as common a problem. I don't know. I kind of think because it is such a small little part, and it may be a small little nub or something that sticks up, that it may be a thing that's just, it's kind of prone to failure unless it's kind of perfectly formed. So if I can't get a part from them, or if I can't get them to just send me out a label, the only thing I can think of, well, there'll be two things, I guess, but the only thing I can think of to do an actual repair will be I'll have to take that little rotating cam, and maybe I'll drill a piece, I'll drill a hole in there, and I'll take maybe an old drill bit or something that small that's just a tiny bit bigger than that hole that I'll drill, and I'll see if I can't force it in there and see if it can make the bolt hole actuate itself. Failing that, I will probably, I guess I just won't have a bolt hold open feature anymore. I understand how it works, and I can just remove those parts and it still will work as an adapter. But I don't know what I might do. And the reason why I wanted to keep this, and the reason why I just don't go with something like an Endomag, where you just use your regular AR-15 mag well, you don't have to have an adapter. The reason is I have a ton of Glock magazines, so I thought, well, if I'm going to have this as a PCC anyway, and I've got a ton of Glock mags, why not do that? I don't have to really buy anything new with any of that stuff. What I might do is I might do a little another video here in a little bit, talking about sort of what my journey was and why I went with this particular route to get to have a PCC, because I had started this build a few years ago, and like I said, maybe we'll do that. So that's kind of where we are now in this ongoing saga of trying to get this thing repaired. So I'll stitch this into the video, and then if I get anything here in I'll probably give them a few more days, and then if I don't, I'll take you along. And this video may be getting a little long, I don't know. If it is, what I'll do is I'll do a part 2, and it will be the part of me trying to see if I can't drill that piece out and put something in there, and maybe even do a little bit of brazing or something like that. Brazing is generally pretty strong. I don't think there would be, I think it would be strong enough for what I would want to do. So, all right, hopefully when you see me here in a second, it will be with a completely repaired adapter from Stern Defense. But again, customer service, unfortunately I have to give them kind of a big thumbs down. All right, we'll see where it goes. All right, guys, here is sort of the semi-final update for what's going to happen as far as getting this issue resolved. After several emails where I just was kind of constantly bugging them, I think I became maybe a bit of a squeaky wheel, and so I'm going to get some grease. So what they're going to do, they're not sending me a shipping label either via mail or just through the regular email. They are just going to go ahead and send me out the actual rotating cam piece, which is that piece that I showed you before. I will not do that in this video. This video is getting a little too long, so I will do a follow-up video if and when I get that thing. Hopefully I'll get it. It'll be a relatively simple install, but I'll do that. I won't need to necessarily go to the range to initially test it. I will test it eventually at the range. Once I get the piece and put it in, it'll be a simple matter of, with some dummy rounds and a magazine, popping that thing back into the lower and kind of cycling it through and see what it does. All right, well, thanks for sticking with me for this one, and stay tuned for part 2 coming up. You know, I don't know when. It'll depend on when they actually send out the piece to me. All right, I'll talk to you guys next time.